What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Brick Breakdown. How's everyone doing today? It is May 24th, Wednesday, 2023. And yeah, we're back, episode 2 of the Brick Breakdown. Welcome everyone in. Uh, this is a new podcast I decided to do. I'm really into football, really into the NFL, and I like to talk about football. That's just my passion, what I love to do. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about the news. We're going to break down the AFC West and talk about some cool stuff. So let's get right into it with the news. News currently, the NFL just approved a new couple new rules. They allowed Thursday night football to be flexed through weeks 13 to 17. There are only 2 flexes allowed throughout the season, and teams cannot play 2 away games. Um, and there's a 28-day notice. So I feel like it's a little bit of a. I like the notice. I like that it's not that big of a. I don't think it's a big of a deal right now. I mean, if it was like all throughout the year and once a week, I think that'd be a little bit too much because guys would just be getting hurt a lot, which is not what the NFL wants. But I think a 28-day notice is plenty of time. Only 2 flexes, so maybe it doesn't. Maybe it'll probably happen, but maybe we only get 1 flex. So I guess we'll see. I did see a couple of those games, and I can totally see 2 games being flexed because God knows what those teams will be at the end towards week 13 and 17. If there's 2 bad games on Thursday Night Football, I can totally understand why the NFL would change it to a better game on Thursday Night Football. Other than that, they also approved a new fair catch rule. It's a 1-year trial. If players catch the fair catch on a kickoff behind the 25-yard line, the ball will be placed at the 25-yard line. So, to my understanding, if they catch it at the 1 to the 24 and they fair catch it, it goes straight to the 25. This is just another step for the NFL to try and get rid of kickoffs because of how dangerous the play is, and I understand where they're coming from, but I think we're getting a little bit closer to moving away, getting rid of the kickoff in the NFL, and if that's what's best, then it is what it is. I mean, I guess we'll see, but yeah, for now, you catch the ball. If you fair catch the ball in the 1, you get it straight to the 25. Is what it is. Another rule they just approved was the third string quarterback, emergency quarterback. Now, I don't believe it counts as an active roster spot, but if there's a third emergency quarterback situation, they can play. And like if the other quarterback goes in, then the other quarterback has to like leave. There's a whole mess of situational football there. So 49ers fans can shut up and stop crying about it. Jim Irsay said that Roger Goodell's extension is, quote, virtually done through 2027. So, yeah, Roger Goodell, I mean, I think, I know that it's a little, this may be a controversial take. I don't know. I think he's done a fairly good job. I mean, I'm sure there have been some things that he may have could have done differently, I guess is a better way of saying it. But all in all, I think that he really enjoys the sport, and I think he really likes the league. I'm sure he loves his job, but I think it could be worse. That's just how I feel about it. I don't think he's the worst guy out there. It is weird that he was saying, "I don't care how you hit the quarterback," to one of the Chiefs after the Super Bowl. That was a little weird. Super Bowl 60 will be played in the 49ers Stadium. So we got a couple years till then, but they just announced that. 2025 draft will be in Green Bay. So that's exciting. 2024 draft will be in Detroit. So there's the future of where the draft will be held. Tom Brady in the news is now a minority partner with the Raiders. Congratulations, I guess. Um, the Broncos released Brandon McManus, and the Falcons signed J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. So that's just great. To those who care about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. All right, let's break it down. AFC West. As I was doing this, there was a couple moments, there was a couple games where I had to think about it. Listen, I don't think these predictions are going to be 1,000% accurate, but I gave it a shot, and I guess we'll see where it goes. So first, I'm going to talk about the Denver Broncos. I have the Broncos going 9-8. I have the schedule right in front of me, so we can just go down. They play the Raiders first at home. I think they get the dub. Washington, I think they get the dub week 2. The first loss I have is them against Miami. I have them beating the Bears, losing to the Jets, losing to the Kansas City Chiefs, beating the Packers, losing to the Chiefs again. There's the bye week. They lose to the Bills, lose to the Vikings, beat the Browns, Texans, Chargers, Lions, Patriots. Then they lose to the Chargers and the Raiders. Now, I think the Broncos will put it this way. They might win more than 9 games. I wouldn't be surprised. I think that with Sean Payton there now, I think it's going to help Russell Wilson. Because I feel like at this point you really just can't go down. Russ had a really rough season last year. I think everyone saw that. It was not the same Russell Wilson that we all know and love. So having Sean Payton in there will be interesting. I think it'll help Russell Wilson a lot. So I guess we'll see. But I just want to break down what has happened in the offseason for the Broncos. So they've lost Graham Glasgow to the Lions, Chase Edmonds to the Bucks. They've lost Jacob Martin to the Texans, Calvin Anderson to the Patriots. Billy Turner to the Jets. Mike Boone, wow, I remember Mike Boone to the Texans. Andrew Beck to the Texans, Eric Saubert to the Dolphins, Deshaun Williams to the Panthers, Lat Murray to the Bills, Draymond Jones to the Seahawks, Darius Phillips to the Texans, Brett Rypien to the Rams, Freddie Swain to the Dolphins, Lamar Jackson, the cornerback, to the Chiefs. I remember that being announced a couple weeks ago. Jacob Bobenmoyer, I believe that's how you say it, to the Raiders, and Corliss Waitman, the punter, but they got a different punter, the Patriots. Their new punter is now Riley Dixon from the Rams. They got Mike McGlinchey, I believe that's how you say it. Sorry. Chris Manhertz, the tight end from the Jags. They got Tremon Smith, Kyle Fuller, Adam Troutman came from the Saints. That's another Sean Payton guy. Zach Allen from the Cardinals. Let's see. Tony Jones. He was also a Saint. I remember him. Jared Stidham, Ben Powers, Marquez Callaway. I did not know he was a Bronco. Okay. That's another Sean Payton guy. Interesting. That's all that I see for the Broncos as of right now. It looks like they did keep a couple of guys. I totally missed this because it's in orange, but Samaje Perine from the Bengals, that's a good signing for them. I also think that they might be able to get Kareem Hunt. That's a rumor. So you never know. A little bit about their fantasy football impact. You have Jerry Jeudy, who I think will have a better season. I don't think he's totally fully breaking out yet, but I think he'll have a better season than he has had in the past. So keep an eye on Jerry Jeudy this year. Cortland Sutton, I don't know, man. He's been tough because he has shown some flashes, but I'm not Cortland Sutton truther anymore. I guess we'll see if he shocks us, then we'll know. Javonte Williams tore that ACL last year, unfortunately. I said it last podcast that he may miss some weeks. He may miss the entire season. I guess we'll find out as the offseason progresses. But, yeah, and like I said earlier, Kareem Hunt, if that happens, I like Kareem Hunt on the Broncos. It will definitely lower Samaje Perine stock, however, but if Kareem Hunt's there, I like Kareem Hunt on the Broncos. I think he will excel with the Broncos. And Russell Wilson, like I said, I think he'll progress. I think I just don't see how he does worse or is the same. Like, I think he will have to do better, and he will do better because having a better coach like Sean Payton will make this offense better. So I don't know if I'm going to be taking Russell Wilson in my fantasy football leagues this year, but I think that he may surprise. There we go. All right. Next up, the LA Chargers. I have the LA Chargers going 10-7, going to their schedule a little bit here. I have them losing at home at week 1 to the Dolphins, beating the Titans, beating the Vikings, beating the Raiders. They have their bye week 5. They beat Dallas. They lose to Kansas City. They beat the Bears. Week 9, they lose to the Jets. I think that's a tough one. That's a toss-up to me. That was one I was looking at for a while. They beat the Lions. They beat the Packers. Lose to the Ravens. Beat the Patriots. Lose to the Broncos. And that's another close one, too, I think, with, rivalry. But I think I have them splitting. So, it happens. Where was I? The Raiders away, week 15. They win. They lose to the Bills. Beat Denver, week 17. Lose to the Chiefs, week 18. All right, let's talk about their key additions and losses real quick. So they have lost Matt Fuller, their guard. DeAndre Carter went to the Raiders. Troy Reeder, linebacker, went to the Vikings. Storm Norton, right tackle, didn't play much, went to the Saints. Joe Gaziano went to the Falcons. Bryden, I can't say that last name, Fehoko, went to the Steelers. Forrest Merrill went to the Seahawks. Drew Tranquil went to the Chiefs, and he played a lot, it looks like. But it looks like they've kept a lot of guys like Cameron Dicker, Keenan Hall, Forrest Sorrell. Who have they added? They've added Eric Kendricks, Nicholas Williams. Who else? Was that it? I can't really see anyone else on here. They've kept a lot of their own guys. Jalen Guyton, J.K. Scott, Trey Pipkins, Donald Parham. So looking like, and there's a couple more free agents still out there for them. So here's the thing about the Chargers. I don't like their head coach, Brandon Staley. Is that how you say it? I think that's right. Brandon Staley. I'm going to look it up real quick because, can't stand him. Brandon Staley. He just, to me, doesn't have, he goes for it on fourth down too much, too aggressive, and I couldn't tell you the percentage of what his fourth down is, but I can tell you it's probably not the best. It's just poor coaching, in my opinion. I remember, I believe it was his rookie season, they could have tied and went to the playoffs, and then he took a timeout, and the Raiders, it was a whole thing, and I've seen him do it. And it's just, I don't know. He's not my type of coach, unfortunately. So I don't know. But I still think this Chargers team is really good. Justin Herbert, love Justin Herbert. He's going to have a great year this year. I would say that the Chargers were contenders if they had a good coach. I just don't think they have a good coach. That's just how I feel about it. They just drafted Quentin Johnson, first round, wide receiver out of TCU. He's good. I've heard that he doesn't really catch the ball, which is kind of important. So hopefully he is able to do that on the Chargers. Other than that, if we look at fantasy football, Herbert, I think he's obviously a top guy in fantasy. But Keenan Allen, he's getting old. I'm sure he'll be their number one wide receiver again. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. Same as Mike Williams. He's excellent. I had him a couple of years ago. He was really good for me. So, yeah, these wide receivers are great. Hopefully Johnston doesn't listen, if Johnston goes crazy, and I'm sure he will, but I don't think he'll get a lot of targets this year. I guess we'll see. I'm sure he'll get a chunk, like 15, 20% of the target shares, but we'll see. And you have to also remember that Austin Eckler's still there. So there's that. I said last podcast that I think Austin Eckler is the number one running back, number one player to be taken in a fantasy football draft because he just did so well last year, and he's done it again. He's done it too many times. He catches the ball, he runs the ball, he's a beast, and he's a really big advocate for fantasy football too. So lots of cool stuff. Next up is the LA Raiders. Let me look at my notes here. Okay, I have the Raiders going 5-12. I have them, and I know that's a hot take. I think it's a hot take. Even when I did it, I was like, I guess I'm just not a believer. This is another team where I'm not a believer in Josh McDaniels. I'm just not a believer in him. I just don't think he's that great of a coach. That's just how I feel. I understand that he was with the Patriots for so long, but I think that's just where he belongs. He belongs in New England with Belichick because that's where he thrived and succeeded. Yeah, I like Jimmy G. I think he's solid, but I don't know. Hey, they could totally shock me and go crazy, but I guess we'll see. All right, so with the Raiders, I have them losing week 1 to Denver, losing week 2 to the Bills. I have them beating the Steelers week 3. And I don't even know if that's right. Losing to the Chargers week 4, beating the Packers week 5, losing to the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick is able to outcoach Josh McDaniels. That's why I gave the Patriots the win there. That's just how I feel about it. Week 7, Bears. The Raiders win. Then they're just going to go on a crazy losing streak. Let's see. It's a lot of games. They lose to Detroit, lose to the Giants, lose to the Jets, lose to the Dolphins, lose to the Chiefs. They have a bye week 13. Lose to the Vikings, lose to the Chargers, and lose to the Chiefs again week 16, and then they win their last 2 games with the Colts and the Broncos. I'm sure there's a couple of games there that they can win, and I'm totally wrong. But I don't know. I don't know about I don't think a lot of us know about the Las Vegas Raiders right now because we haven't seen Jimmy G with this team yet. I know they have Adams. I know they just lost Waller. But they do have Austin Hooper, and they just drafted Michael Mayer out of Notre Dame in the 2nd round. They also drafted Tyree Wilson. But let's see. let's state the obvious real quick. They lost Derek Carr to the Saints. That's something to talk about. I think Carr may be able to do something good there. We'll talk about that when we get to that division. They lost Cleveland Farrell to the Niners. They lost Denzel Perryman to the Texans, Matt Collins to the Falcons, Rock Ya-Sin to the Ravens. Wow, I didn't know. I forgot about that. Andrew Billings to the Bears, Trent Sieg to the Cowboys, Sidney Jones to the Bengals. Wow, Sidney Jones is still playing. I didn't know that. Jackson Burton to the Cardinals, Jarrett Stidham, we already talked about that. Foster Moreau went to the Saints and joined Derek Carr too. Let's see where else people went. So that's who they lost. This is who they got. They got Jimmy G. They got Austin Hooper, like we said. They got Brandon Faceyson. I'm going to say Faceyson. Cornerback from the Colts. They got Cam Sims. Oh, I remember Cam Sims from the Commanders. Robert Spillane from the Steelers. Brian Hoyer. Wow, Brian Hoyer from the Patriots. That's a Josh McDaniels guy. That makes sense. Greg Van Rotten from the Bills. John Jenkins from the Dolphins. DeAndre Carter from the Chargers. That's a sneaky move. I like DeAndre Carter. Underrated. Philip Dorsett. Ugh, that's another Josh McDaniels guy from the Texans. Jordan Willis from the 49ers. O.J. Howard. Wow, did not know that. From the Texans. Did not know he's a Raider. Sidney Jones left. Justin Murray, right tackle. Duke Shelley, cornerback from the Vikings. David Long from the Rams, the corner. Christian Wilkerson from the Colts. Jaquan Johnson from the Bills. Marcus Epps from the Eagles. And Jacob Bobenmoyer from the Broncos. Yeah, like I said, I just don't know about this Raiders team. This whole division is kind of crazy, to be honest. They also took Tyree Wilson in the first round out of Texas Tech. I don't know if I said that already, but I thought that was a good pick for them. Maybe he shines. If we talk about fantasy, Jimmy G and Devontae Adams might be solid together. I guess we'll see. Austin Hooper, I don't know yet. Hunter Renfrow. I had Hunter Renfrow last year on my fantasy team, and I was hating it. He was just not getting any production, and it was horrible. And I think he was hurt for a little bit, so that was frustrating. And Josh Jacobs balled out last year, and wouldn't be surprised if he's a top pick in a fantasy football draft this year for sure. I haven't been doing this yet, but the over-under in wins, regular season wins per Caesars right now is 7.5 for the Raiders, and I have the under with 5-12. The other teams that I mentioned before, the Broncos is 8-5, or 8-5. What am I saying? The Broncos over under is 8.5. I have the over with 9 wins. Chargers is 9.5. I have the over with 10 wins. Now it's time to talk about the unfortunate defending Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. I have the Chiefs going 14-3. They're still a great team. Patrick Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in this league, if not the best. Here we go with the schedule. They win week 1 against the Lions. They beat the Jags week 2. Week 3, they play the Bears. They win. 4, the Jets. They win. I have them losing to the Vikings week 5. I don't know. It was a gut call. That one's a toss-up. Week 6, they beat Denver. Week 7, they beat the Chargers. Week 8, they beat Denver again. Week 9, they lose to Miami. Another toss-up. By week 10. By week 10, they beat the Eagles. Week 11, they beat the Raiders, beat the Packers, beat the Bills, beat the Patriots, beat the Raiders, lose to the Bengals, and then beat the Chargers week 18. Their over-under is 11.5. I have them at 14 wins. I have the over. Fantasy football aspect with the the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes obviously is going to go round 2. I can even see him go round 1 if people are that crazy to go get him. Travis Kelce's definitely going to go round 1 because he's one of the best. He's top 2 tight end this year between him and Mark Andrews. Who's there right now? They have Kadarius Toney. They're saying that he's going to be the top or their number 1 guy. I don't buy into it. I guess we'll see. They drafted Rashee Rice out of SMU. And I heard that Mahomes really wanted him. So they got Mahomes, someone that he really wanted. They have Isaiah Pacheco and they have MVS. I bought into MVS last year and he really didn't produce. Unfortunately, Pacheco showed a lot of promise. So I can see trying to get him later because Clyde Edwards-Helaire isn't even viable at this point. Don't like Kadarius Toney because he gets hurt. Like he's made of glass. Rashee Rice is interesting because we're going to see like the difference in target shares with Mahomes and all that. But I think Kelsey's probably going to get the most because Kelsey's just a beast. All right. Next thing I wanted to do, which I thought would be fun, would be predicting the Super Bowl halftime show for this next Super Bowl. So I'm going to start with 10 and go to 1. I'm not saying I want these people. I'm saying these who I think are likely to happen. That's the best way for me to explain this. At number 10, I have BTS. Now, I'm not really into BTS. I know a couple of their songs that were popular on the radio and stuff like that, but I can totally see BTS being the halftime show for sure. They're that popular. Will it happen? Probably not. That's why I have them at 10. At number 9, this is where it gets interesting. I have Britney Spears. Now, to my understanding and my research, she hasn't performed since like 2013 because she had the whole conservatorship, all that going on. But can you imagine how many people would watch? I feel like a lot of people would watch. That's the reason why I had her. But I was like, wow, when I started doing research for this, I was like, whoa, Britney Spears would be huge. She hasn't performed in so long. I have her at 9 because I don't think the odds of it happening are so slim, but we'll see. That one, I like that one. Number 8, I have Drake because, I mean, Drake is one of the best out there right now, obviously. I mean, who doesn't like Drake? He's one of the most popular musical artists out there. Do I think he does it, though? No, I don't. I don't think Drake has time for stuff like that, in my opinion. He's not. And listen, it would be awesome. I mean, who doesn't like a Drake performance? But I just don't think that's something that happens. I would love it. Would totally love to see Drake at the halftime. But I don't know. Like, I'm not for sure. That's why I have him at 8 to see if it actually happens or not. Number 7, I have SZA because she just had the whole new album coming out. I'm sure she's a great performer. Again, don't know if she has the time to do something like this, but I think it's likely. That's why I have her on at 7. Number 6, Harry Styles. Harry Styles I think is more likely. I'm sure he performs very well. He's very popular. He had the new album, Harry's House. sold out Madison Square Garden for a couple shows. Who doesn't? I could totally see it. Harry Styles is really popular right now. Totally understand. That's why I have him at 6. At number 5, I have a culmination. I don't know why I did it like this, because I thought if I'm going bold prediction, let's go bold. At number 5, I'm going, because 2 years ago, last year, who was it last year? Oh, it was Rihanna. Rihanna had it. And then before that, it was the rap group Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Dr. Dre, all that. But number 5, I have a culmination of Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, and Doja Cat. I feel like if they all listen, I could see it just be one of them, one of the girls I just said. But if they all did that, I feel like a lot of people would watch. I feel like a lot of people would be interested in seeing them all perform. It would be crazy. Number 4, I have Adele. Adele, she's always a great performer. I think everyone loves Adele. Who doesn't love Adele? Everyone's going to watch that. Number 3, I have Ed Sheeran. I think I don't know if he just released an album or is going to release a new album, something like that. I saw something about Ed Sheeran recently. I think he just came out with a documentary. I could be wrong. I don't know. I think he did. Totally can see Ed Sheeran. I'm sure he performs very well. Very popular. Why not? Number 2, Post Malone. I think Post Malone's, he just announced a new album coming out. Can totally see Post Malone doing the halftime show. I've seen some, I've seen some TikToks of like him performing, and it looks really cool. So I can totally see him being the halftime performance. And my number 1 halftime performance show is Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is just an unbelievable performer. She's currently on her Eras tour right now. The amount of people the Ticketmaster situation of buying tickets, the amount, the prices for these tickets, everyone and their mother is trying to go see Taylor Swift right now. Everyone. It's crazy. And I understand it, because I love Taylor Swift. She's very talented. I've enjoyed her songs. I love the documentary that is on Netflix. I think the world needs a Taylor Swift Super Bowl halftime performance this year, this next coming Super Bowl, because I think it'll break records and how much money. I'm sure money's involved, but I think so many people will tune in to watch Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl, because she's so popular, ridiculously popular right now. All right. I just thought that would be fun to do. That was fun for me to do. I liked thinking about stuff like that. I'm going to close it out with the quote of the day. The quote of the day is, "We are here and it is now. Further than that, all human knowledge is moonshine." That is from H.L. Mencken. That's it for me today. I hope everyone enjoyed. New podcasts are coming Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. All of my socials, you can follow me on Twitter at BrykMatt, BrykMatt. You can follow the podcast at Bryk Breakdown, at BRYK Breakdown, on all platforms. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify. Apple Podcast is coming soon. I'm not sure if it is on there yet. I submitted it to be on there. If you would like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. And have a great day.